Hello, podcast lovers. This is your host with the most. Me and Obsidian are going to host a great episode of JJ Meets World. You're going to know what that means in a little bit. Sit back and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
My mornings are always rough in that I need a solid hour before I
Really?
feel presented.
Full hour?
Before I feel like a human being who wants to interact with other human beings. Like, I'm not someone who can just get up and be like, let's go and live the day and live life and shake hands with the first person we see and make small talk about the weather and then, plan accordingly for the work, all that kind of stuff. I wake up and I'm like, blah, and it's going to take a long amount of bathroom time and blowing my nose and clearing my lungs out and drinking coffee and getting the crusties out of my eyes and just realizing that I have another day of stuff to do. It takes me a while before I'm ready. And it's not me getting ready. It's not me, I gotta, make sure I got the right lotion on my skin and that everything is looking good, right? I'm not getting ready like that. It's just more like, yep, now I feel emotionally prepared to take on the day.
6 minutes. That's how long it takes me. 6 minutes.
Well, you don't get up early for the job anymore, right? You used to have to go in at like 5. You get up early.
I used to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go in for my morning show, but now I get up somewhere between 5:30 and 6 every morning.
What time do you go to bed?
I'm usually in bed by 9:30 and I'm for sure asleep by 10:30.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're
what about you? What time are you going to bed?
It's different. There is no one time, which is probably the problem, right? My body's like, there's no circadian rhythm here, dude. You're just going nuts. Sometimes I'm like, I'm in bed by 10 and sometimes it's 2, 3 in the morning.
I could not function like that. I could to me, I guess here's the uptick. It takes me 6 minutes to be ready for the day, like 100% ready to greet everyone. I'm good to go. My brain's firing on all cylinders. But if I am trying to stay up late, I'm the guy who will fall asleep in a chair and so be like, hey, you sleeping? I'd be like, no, I'm awake. This movie's great. And
why not just say, yeah, I'm tired?
Because for some reason I see that as a sign of weakness, and I do not want to be weak. Right?
Do you think it has to do with sort of what's in your evolutionary DNA of when we were living on the savannah? And if someone caught you sleeping, that means you were in a moment of defenselessness.
That means
so maybe
probably
when someone says, hey, are you sleeping? And you're in a room full of people, you're like, whoa, is a lion coming?
It's interesting you bring that up because the lion is the king of the cats, right?
I mean, the king of the jungle, I think is what they say.
Right, but I mean, it's the king of cats. Like, it's a big cat. It's the king of the cats.
Yeah, but there's a lot of kings of cats.
I'm going to talk about the king of the dogs because 2023 is going to be a very wolf-themed year for JJ Gordon.
Oh, no.
I'm way into wolves, and I want to share some wolf facts with you right now, Tucker.
Can we, before we go into wolf facts?
Yeah. Acknowledge what?
I just want you to make me a promise about 2023 JJ's Year of the Wolf. That's fine if you want to make wolves your thing.
Uh-huh.
But if at any point you think you're about to go to a gas station to buy a pullover hoodie with wolves on it, I need to know. Okay.
You know what? I'm glad you bring that up because
I need to know if it's getting to that point. I need to know if there's going to be a moment where you're going to print out a poem about wolves and just put it up in your house somewhere.
well, okay, hold on. There's a big difference between a poem about wolves and wearing wolf clothing. I will not ever wear wolf clothing because I respect these beasts so much that I don't need to see someone's airbrushed art of them howling at the moon, walking around a snowbank. I will never adorn my flesh with imagery of wolves. That being said, wolf poetry, perhaps a striking image someone has taken with a field camera, these may become things that I get into.
Here's the thing. From my experience, there are those who wear wolf clothing that don't get into wolf poetry, but there's no one who's gotten into wolf poetry that doesn't have wolf clothing.
Oh, interesting. So it's a gateway. It's a gateway wolf.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with werewolves either. It's not like I was recently bitten and I'm just getting ready for, this next journey I'm going to go through in my life. I literally ended up at a shopping mall and in line, and there was a kid in front of me who turned around and he said, "Do you like wolves?" And to be honest, I was like, yeah, I actually am. I like wolves. And so
that's the kind of small talk I would sign up for it.
Right. Like you don't want to talk about the weather. You want to talk about something specific. And so this kid started telling me about wolves. And I asked him where he learned all of this stuff. And he goes, internet. And we're talking like this kid's so young. I doubt he even this kid doesn't even know how to turn the computer on by himself, but somehow he's been able to find out all of these wolf facts. And so I went on a deep dive and I found a bunch of wolf facts, and I am impressed at how much we do not know about the wolf. And so, Tucker, you tell me whether or not you've ever heard any of these particular facts.
Hold on. Okay, you're saying in general, not like the human race, because if you have a bunch of facts about wolves, that would imply that we know a great many things about wolves.
Yeah, we know, but I'm saying, do you know these? I'm not talking about human beings. I'm talking about do you, Tucker, know these things about wolves that I'm about to tell you?
Because so I'm no longer a human being now.
Correct, because I now know these things thanks to the internet. And I found it. Okay, so a full-grown wolf, so this isn't a baby wolf. This is a full-grown wolf, 42 teeth. Did you know that?
You know what? I didn't.
Okay. Did you know that wolves use facial expressions to communicate with each other?
Okay, so that actually doesn't surprise me, even though I didn't know it.
Okay,
but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me.
Did you know that it's a myth, the alpha wolf idea, that they live in packs as families, and there isn't actually one that is an alpha?
I never assumed that there was just one, but so I guess I didn't know that, but it's not correcting a thing that I assumed. Like, I didn't assume it was like one alpha male and then the rest of the pack. I just figured that an alpha male is an aggressive, male who is effective at hunting.
So there are actually two wolves in each pack that get overly aggressive and they mate.
Got it.
So they, will snarl, they'll nip at each other, and then they'll get busy.
You're saying the most aggressive male, most aggressive female.
Well, yeah, I assume. It doesn't get into whether or not wolves have same-sex attractions. So the internet did not tell me that because I didn't want to end up. I mean, if you search gay wolves, it takes you down some pretty interesting pathways.
I thought you were referring to, their aggression then gets passed on in their genes because they're the most aggressive, and then they mate. I thought that's what you were saying.
That's an interesting question. I don't know if the aggressiveness gets passed on. Doesn't that make Pixar should make a movie about a super aggressive wolf mom and dad who have a cub, and that cub's like, I don't want to be aggressive. I don't like snarling. And so they get pushed out of the pack. Oh, this is a great idea.
Can you imagine Pixar producing like the next Look Who's Talking movie? And so they have to create a whole sequence of sperm going into an egg.
I mean, that's been the dream, right? That's what everyone's dream is.
I'm trying to remember, in the third one, do we see dog sperm
Yes.
ever?
Yep.
We do. Okay.
I mean, you don't ruin a perfectly good thing. You gotta have Danny DeVito as the voice of one of them. Okay. Gray wolves, which is the most common type of wolf, the gray wolf, will not attack prey that stands still. They will like circle it and try and intimidate it so that it gets it to run. But if you don't run, if you just stand still, your odds of surviving a wolf attack are greatly increased.
Why is that? Because they think that you think you're strong?
No, so the little article that I read about it is purely like this. They think that something that fights to live, okay, is going to be healthier than something that doesn't run. So, like, why would you take down an old moose that has gross, like, is almost dead anyway, versus a young moose that has got the good tasting back hump meat?
That's really interesting, because I know that I've assumed, and I've been told too, certainly about other carnivores, that they're like, well, I don't care. I'm going to go after the slowest thing in the herd. I'm going to go after whatever's easiest to kill.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting that the gray wolf is thinking, yeah, we could kill that, but it's probably sick.
Wolves are so cool.
Yeah.
This little boy was ahead of his time. Okay. The Japanese for wolf means great God. Okay. Saliva from a common gray wolf can heal wounds, which is ironic because the saliva gets all over things that it's tearing apart to eat.
Can we be a little more specific about what that means? Because I doubt it means, just have a wolf lick it and then it's going to get better. Is it just saying that there's antibacterial properties to their
it's more of like a so like if you have a wound, you can wash the wound with this saliva and the properties of it, whether they're antibacterial or if it's just what's it called when something's like neutral, like pee,
like the pee. Well, the how did we find that out?
That pee is
no. That if a wolf licks you, you're better.
Well, it's not necessarily a lick, because you got to have the saliva.
Well, yeah, but what was the first? I'm trying to. Did we first get licked by a wolf, or did we first gather its saliva in a jar? Right. I think we probably first got licked by a wolf.
Two twin brothers are wounded in the exact same way, and one of them gets licked by a wolf, and the other one's like, "My wound's healing not as quick as yours." He's like, "Well, I got licked by that wolf."
Had they gone like wolf hunting and someone's like, "Oh, I got a paper cut," and someone's like, "I know, cut off that wolf's tongue and rub it with that."
We are not that far away from a time when we were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, right? So it's not that long ago in the evolution of human history where we thought bloodletting was the way to get rid of diseases. Oh, you're sick? Well, let's just get some of that blood out of you, and then we'll fill it up with better blood. And by the way, I'm a barber as well as the doctor.
Is this old information though, or new information? Is this stuff that we've known for generations, or is this like, now that we have microscopes, we were like, hey, let's look at wolf spit, and they're like, hey, look, we're seeing all this stuff in wolf spit.
Okay,
and now Pfizer is making wolf spit vaccines,
maybe,
and all that shit.
I mean, maybe it's the fact that since wolves as a species have to take down larger animals to survive, right? So they're taking down deer, they're taking down moose, they're hunting as packs. There is aggression within themselves. So they have actually evolved so that when they lick their own wounds, they heal faster because it's an animal that will be wounded on a regular basis.
Got it. Now, speaking of wolves, this kind of ties into a conversation for me. You and I were having offline recently. But I've been on this whole kick with Disney musicals lately. And you brought up Beauty and the Beast as we were talking about it. And so I went back because I love Beauty and the Beast. And while Beauty and the Beast isn't in my top 3 of all time, it's up there, right? Like it's in the Renaissance period of the best era of Disney musicals. And I remember as a kid, and even now rewatching it, I always loved and thought it was a brilliantly directed scene when she runs away from the castle early on and gets attacked by wolves, and then Beast shows up and defends her, right?
Yep.
And it's just a really well made scene. And then I thought, I haven't seen the new live action movie. I wonder what their wolf fight scene is like. And so I looked that up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. I couldn't understand how a company with that much money and all the time in the world to make these things can fall so far. And I think here's a big thing about it. I think it's because of the amount of time being put into making these things. So the amount of time that was put into Beauty and the Beast, I bet that was what, a decade, 8 to 10 years,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
right? And so they're looking at it with a fine-tuned comb. Every single shot has been worked on in one way or another, and they've really fine-tuned the drama and everything. Versus the one that the live action was probably shot in 3 months, and edited in 6, right? And just to get it out there because they wanted to make some more money based off their old IP. But I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand how poorly you could make a scene until that. It's night and day. They should have just gone and done a shot for shot recreation of the old one. At least take the old directing and storytelling that was fucking phenomenal, right? Like the beats, the motion of it, unbelievable. But wolf attack, and obviously Belle was running, so that shows us that if she had stayed still, maybe they wouldn't have attacked her.
Right. Also, aren't you a little interested in the fact that like when the beast shows up, like they don't just immediately cower as like, oh, this is, like a much bigger creature. This is further up the food chain.
Well, and I think that speaks to the ferocity of the moment, right? Because they're in a bloodlust, and they're hunting, and they're a pack animal, right? So
Correct.
they're like, even though there's a menace here, there's many of us and one of them, right? And so but I love everything about that. The reveal of the beast when he picks a wolf up and just roars in his face, is so cool. And in the new one, he just kind of pushes him over and gets knocked down. And the CG wolves, I think they run away after a bit.
I think one of the things that really surprises me with the live action Beauty of the Beast is it doesn't seem to have literally any of the heart that the first one had.
I've only seen that one scene, and I agree with you.
It's bad.
I agree with you.
Okay.
And I can't imagine that what's-her-face, Hermione, was interesting in it at all.
So, no, she's not. She was a horrible choice. They're like, oh, you're a young brunette. You'll be great. Okay, more wolf facts for you. Wolves have small webs between their toes, which allows wolves to be excellent swimmers and can actually swim up to distances of 8 miles at a time. Now, you might think, oh, thank God, here's a dock. I can jump in the water and evade this wolf attack. Nope. They're going to catch you, and then they're going to drag you back to shore. There is an International Wolf Center in Minnesota, and it sponsors Howl Nights. They're events where people can howl in the wild in hopes of getting a wolf to respond, like an actual native Minnesota wolf to respond back to you as you howl.
Huh, that'd be cool.
I mean, it would, right?
That would be really cool, actually. That sounds awesome.
Wolf pups are born in the spring typically, like most other animals. And so they get the summer to teach them how to hunt.
What's the gestation period? Because then we can figure out when it is that wolves are hooking up.
Oh, that's a good idea. Hold on. Gestation of wolves. 62 to 75 days. It's a quick gestation period.
This is side tangent. This is making me think of our good friend Matthew Burkholder. May he rest in peace. But his mom, Valray, is really into Santa Claus.
She
really
loves Santa Claus.
Loves Santa Claus. And Matthew's father, Keith, may he rest in peace, for the entire time that I knew him, was always rocking a Santa Claus look. And one time I was over at Matt's house, and I saw an old photo of Keith from before Matt was born, and he didn't have the beard or anything. He looked totally different. And I was like, oh, your dad didn't used to look like Santa Claus. And he was like, yeah, he kind of started around XYZ time. And then we worked it out that around the time that Matt's dad started to look like Santa Claus was roughly 10 months before Matt was born. And so the Santa Claus look was getting Velray so worked up. That's why we got Matthew, is because of the Santa
Right,
Claus
ho
looks.
ho ho.
Anyways, gestation periods of wolves, what do you know?
62 to 75 days. So really, like right around
That's it?
Valentine's Day. I know, yeah, it's a short gestation period. So
Damn, they're fucking close to rabbits,
Yeah.
man. Rabbits are 30 days.
they're getting it done.
Good
Okay.
Lord.
You know who else was fascinated by wolves? Hitler.
Oh,
And he often used wolf-themed aliases and codes names such as Herr Wolf or I'm gonna really test my German here. Conductor Wolf, Wolf's Gulch, Wolf's Lair, and Werewolf. Code names for his military headquarters. Well, that puts a damper on this, but I'm gonna prove that you can be obsessed with wolves like that little kid. I hope that kid wasn't a bigot.
where are wolves from? Are they from North America or Europe?
They're
or where
primarily Eurasian and North American. And they have been spread widely because at the time when we were trying to domesticate dogs, there was a huge push at one point to domesticate the wolf. And so it was pretty much brought everywhere. And the wolf was like, peace out. I'm going to go out on my own. There's been like a lot that have been hunted to extinction. In Great Britain, there's a 300 wolf pelt per year tax at one point, and so people had to bring 300 wolf pelts to the king every year. That's stupid.
I once saw a video on the internet, where it was I want to say it was some preserve or some nature space that people were trying to rehabilitate, and so they because it was overrun with deer. And so they reintroduced a wolf pack to the area, and they showed how, like, with time lapse, how over a course of, I want to say 2 to 3 years, maybe longer, maybe 5 years, but just doing the reintroduction of the wolves did so much, changed the ecosystem of the area so much that it literally recarved out the path that the river took through it.
Oh, wow. Isn't that amazing?
Right. And it had something to do with like the deer were always eating all the vegetation, and so there was nothing for the shoreline to hold on to, I think, something like that. And then when they were getting hunted down by the wolves to more sustainable levels, plants and stuff could grow in more, and then create more of a shoreline or something for the river to curve. I think it was something along those lines. But the thing is that it happens on a time scale that, to a human being just living out our daily life, you don't notice it, right? You don't think about it. But yeah, just something as simple as, let's put 30 wolves in this area that there are no wolves, and let's see what happens to the ecosystem. We have wolves at the Fargo Zoo, but every time I've gone there, they're like, yeah, we're basically just big fat dogs, though. We're just going to sleep and not do shit.
Have you ever been there when they do one of their feedings?
I've not.
They pull out like half of a carcass, and you get to watch the wolves eat. It is disgusting and powerful at the same time.
Is it like that scene in Jurassic Park when they raise the goat up to get the T-Rex to come?
No, I imagine it's closer to what it's like when, like, for what they get to see, but we don't see, through the lens of the camera when the raptors are fed. Because really, he picks up the goat and he chomps it once and then swallows it. He doesn't.
But the leg flies off, right? He bites,
which is weird because, like, when you look at it, that's not what happens with that goat.
Well, yeah, I think it's supposed to be that he bit it, but just one leg was sticking out and got bit off.
Yeah,
the rest of it.
You go rewatch that scene. It seems weird that like the leg would be out there when he takes it and he like throws it in the air and like chomps on it.
Okay, which of my 37 copies of Jurassic Park on VHS do you think I
want you to one of the letterbox ones.
I only have one letterboxed one, the widescreen, because they're rare.
Yeah,
those are the ones that you don't see anywhere.
Interesting.
And you know it from a distance because it's got a little red bar in the top.
This I find to be interesting. members of the Cherokee tribe did not hunt wolves because they feared that their wolf brothers would take revenge. And along with this belief, if you used a weapon to kill a wolf, like in self-defense, that weapon was no longer seen fit for combat again.
Oh,
So
interesting.
the wolf, I mean, clearly the wolf, I mean, going back to Roman mythology, the wolf meant a lot. You know, it was Romulus and Remus were the sons of Mars and the founder of Rome. And they were two, you know, they were raised by wolf. You know, these two babies were raised by wolves, which is really weird and interesting.
Now, JJ, you're not like saying all these wolf facts within earshot of your dogs, are you? Because you're going to give them a complex, because your pups are about as far away from what a wolf is as is possible, and yet they're related.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I mean, the amount of DNA that is in a wolf that also is in my cubs is the same amount that is in me, as well as like, you know, Tom Hanks. Be like, they're human, but there's not a lot of other genetic traits that we're finding between them. But
do you think,
get this, wolf dogs. So the breeding of wolves and dogs. So like, let's say I let my dog into the wilderness. There's a chance a wolf might breed with Neely. And then it could create this wolf dog.
What does a wolf and a Neely cross even look like?
It's adorable.
It doesn't survive in the wild, I'll tell you that much.
Want to hear an interesting fact about my dog that gets called out all the time? Like whenever I take the dog to the vet and then other like dog owners, they're like, wow, you take excellent care of this dog's teeth. Do you brush her teeth? Neely has very, very white teeth for a dog. And I have never, not once in my life, have I ever brushed my dog's teeth. I've never had her put under to have her teeth brushed. There's no signs of rot, even in her old age. She just has really good teeth.
Do you give her a lot of stuff to chew on too?
You know, we not as much as you'd think. Like, she's always been good about eating dry food, and I always pick dry food that is noted for like its crunchability, because that, you know, is a way that they get their teeth taken care of. We give her the greenies, which they say are really good. You know, they're shaped kind of like a toothbrush, and they say those things are really good, but nothing above anything else. For example, we give almost the exact same stuff to George, and his teeth look friggin' awful. He looks like he, you know, just jumped out of a boxcar.
Well, our dog Juno, she's got really good teeth too, and we don't brush her teeth. And she does do dry kibble, but she also has a ton of toys that she chews on. And like one of her favorite things to do is if you take like a plastic empty bottle and put some peanut butter in there or something or whatever, she'll chew on that for like an hour. And she's really good about just chewing on it, right? So she's not swallowing pieces.
Yeah.
But it's scraping against her teeth. And so, yeah, she's getting a good scraping. So I think just really, if your dog is able to actively scrape their teeth and gums on something, that is, you know, if they're doing that routinely, you're probably getting pretty far. But I'm sure genes has it's just, Neely's got really good genes.
Okay.
This has got to be
Tucker, I'd like to ask you 5 questions, and I will generate your official JJ Meets World fan club wolf name.
Wait, okay, hold on. Say this again. I need to understand what I'm buying up.
This
what
is
I'm signing
the
up
official JJ Meets World fan club wolf name generator. Okay. So I will provide you with your official wolf name as a member, the number 1 member of the JJ Meets World fan club.
Oh, got it. So it's like we're a pack of wolves and you're the alpha?
No. In fact, I am your prey. Right?
So, you're Belle. Okay.
So you need to answer these questions. Answer them as honestly as you can, all right?
Okay.
Okay. In what year were you born?
1985.
Okay. If you were to eat a sandwich, what meat would you put on the sandwich?
Are you using one of those like little paper diamond things we'd use in elementary school?
No, I designed this myself.
So say the question again.
Okay. If you're to eat a sandwich, what type of meat are you going to put on the sandwich?
Oh, I mean, I just made a sandwich yesterday, but it had 2 kinds of meat. But you know what? I'm going to go with pepperoni.
Pepperoni. Okay. I'll be honest. I did not expect that one to come up. Now, this isn't like you can only pick from 4, so I'm going to put all pepperoni. Okay, pepperoni. Okay. Question number 3. If you were to kill me, what part of me would you eat first? Me referring to JJ, host of JJ Meets World.
Well, not butt.
No, there's not a lot there.
Shoulder.
Shoulder. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Shoulder. Okay. If you were to turn,
You like those shoulders looking like some good pepperonis.
if you were to turn into a wolf, okay, now this isn't a werewolf situation. It's like tomorrow morning you wake up and you're a wolf. What part of your body would you be most interested in?
Oh, my nose.
Your nose. So like, yeah, okay.
Because the amount of scent that I would be getting.
It'd be can you imagine that? Like if all of a sudden you had like 4,000 times your scent ability tomorrow morning when you woke up, you'd probably be disgusted at your living spaces.
Oh, I am now. So, you know.
With just regular. All right. The last question on this list is a pretty simple question, okay? Do you fear wolves?
No.
You do not fear wolves. Okay.
But I'm answering that as, do I have a phobia? If I was in the woods and I saw a bunch of wolves, then I would be afraid.
You would not be afraid.
That I would be afraid.
You would.
If I'm suddenly in danger. But so are you asking, do I have a phobia?
No, I'm saying like,
am I,
if you encountered a wolf, would you be afraid? Like if you walked out and on your way to the car, you heard and you turned around and there was a wolf in your driveway.
Especially if it's growling at me. Yes, of course.
Okay. Are you ready for your wolf name?
So hold on. My answers were 1985.
Yep. Pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
Shoulder.
JJ's shoulder.
Yep. A snout.
The snout of the wolf because of the scent it gets. And yes, I would be afraid of an aggressive wolf in the wild.
Tucker, your wolf name is Obsidian. So special shout out to my producer, Tucker Lucas, now known as his wolf name, Obsidian.
Did you find like a poll on what's your stripper name and you just decided to call it wolf name instead?
What's your stripper name asks you if you're afraid of wolves and what kind of sandwich you want to eat?
Well, I wasn't aware.
That's the worst stripper ever. You don't ask strippers questions like that. They'll leave.
I want to know, how the fuck did my answers come up with obsidian?
Truth be told, it's based on the number of like characters total that are used. And so because you went with something like pepperoni, which is a ton of letters compared to ham, I'm sure it put you way into the ether.
I would never pick ham.
Even turkey.
Oh my God.
Even turkey. Like just went, and then shoulder.
On you, JJ, where I'm like, okay, I want a slab of meat, but I don't want it to be too fatty. So I can't go on the ends of, I can't go in your limbs because you're spindly on your limbs. I don't want to go belly because there's not the kind of meat I'm looking for. I think a shoulder cut on you is probably going to be the best chance of getting something close to like a flank steak or something, you know?
Yeah,
but it's gotta come from your shoulder.
You're not wrong. But I do think that, like, you know, for example, my legs are way leaner than you'd imagine, but it's not like I'm a runner, so it's probably good meat there. You just don't, you know, the problem with the shoulders, you got to go low and slow because it's a very active muscle, so it's going to be very tough. You know, I don't know why we're not talking about eating human necks. I bet necks are amazing. Okay, gross. Let me tell you another thing that I learned this last week. So as we know, I host a regular radio show on KFGO. And years ago, we put out a cookbook. Okay. So we do every year now, starting in 2019. There's a KFGO cookbook. You can get it at a bunch of different places. I've got recipes in it. I got my brine recipe for turkeys. But the one that we had from the 70s, let me tell you about some of the recipes they have in it that I think a wolf would really like. How to prepare squirrel. Cut up the squirrel and roll it in flour. Fry and salt, pepper to taste. Add water to pan and onion. Simmer slowly. Put in the oven. Now, this is the one that makes me want to throw up a little bit. This is why I know I couldn't be a wolf myself, because this is too much for me. This is a legit recipe that someone in the 70s submitted to KFGO and people probably ate, right? Like, this is the same person who's like, beaver tail, delicious, makes me think of the holidays.
The way you described it, though, it sounds like you're just saying, what's the recipe to make squirrel? Well, first you cut up a squirrel and then you cook it.
Yeah. That's literally what they put here. So it's that person who's like, goddamn idiots, I got to tell them how to prepare a squirrel. This is the easiest thing you've ever done. And he's like, and it's like, no, that's not, because he doesn't say anything about catching the squirrel first. It doesn't say anything about like, oh, debone the squirrel. Okay, so this is the one that really made my stomach churn. Pig head cheese.
Nope, no thank you.
Listen to the first 5 words. Clean head, take eyes out.
Yep, fuck everything about that one.
Cut away snoot and ears. Remove the cheeks and salt down. Put lean meat such as veal or tongue with the head. Put all in a large kettle and cover with water. Add onion, bay leaf, salt, and pepper. Boil until the meat falls off the bone. They're talking about the skull.
Yep.
And
aren't there brains still inside the skull?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Grind with a meat grinder. No! Cool water in which meat was boiled and remove fat from top. Put ground meat in colander so the fat will drip off. Add some water so the meat will hold together. Add cinnamon, cloves, and salt and pepper if desired.
There's not enough fucking cinnamon on this planet that's going to make me want to eat that fucking shit.
Pig head cheese.
Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, thank you. I can. Oh, goddamn, dude. If this was the Oregon Trail, I wouldn't make it.
Me neither. I would not have survived the Oregon Trail. That's for sure.
I would have fallen out of the cart and gotten run over before we left the bank's parking lot.
Hey, I'm going to send you an image right now. So take your phone and you're going to look at, I Googled pig head cheese.
No.
And this is what the final product looks like.
Why are you sending me anything like, no, God damn it. I need that off my screen right now. How do I get rid of that? Yeah, get away, delete.
So if I'm going to die tomorrow and they're like, listen, we think there's foul play, we're going to check out his internet history. There's a ton of Googling of wolves and then pig head cheese. So
yeah, well,
I would like someone to solve that mystery and save my life if possible.
Oh, God, that's the most. I need to delete this off my phone. I don't ever want to see this.
Yeah, it's gross, isn't it?
Get out of here. Why is this not going away?
When I was in Delaware visiting Jill's family one time, they were like, "Oh, we're going to have some Scrapple." And I said, "Scrapple, what's that?" And it's a bunch of pig byproducts. It's sort of like haggis.
No.
But for pig.
I would have just laughed. I would have been like, fuck your family.
No, this is the thing. This is the way to describe it. I'm like, oh, what's in Scrapple? And one of Jill's uncles looked at me and said, everything but the oink. Which is the best way to describe meat that I'm about to eat that I've ever heard.
I would have divorced her before getting married.
Been like,
Joe,
we're family from the East Coast, but Scrapple, not married. Very popular on the East Coast.
But I just need you to know how serious about this breakup I am. That I'm just calling it divorce.
Yeah,
that's how I don't want to be a part of this.
How much of a Karen should I be? I bought VIP tickets when I was in New York to see Sesame Street Live, which was actual puppeteered Sesame Street characters doing a Broadway musical with one human being who gets pulled out of the audience, who's clearly a plant. And they do a Broadway show of like their favorite songs. It's a little tiny theater, seats probably like 120 people. Again, I bought VIP tickets, and there were 2 types of audience members: little kids and adults who wanted the little kids to be quiet because they paid good money to see something from their childhood they were nostalgic for. But the day I got there, the dude who was running the merch stand, part of my VIP experience included a chance to meet the honkers and and get a picture, which I'm very proud of. Almost made it on my Christmas card.
Is this in New York?
This is in New York.
Okay.
And then you also got a program, a VIP lanyard, and some merchandise. So when I got so we're waiting in this line and there's only one dude working this thing. They clearly hadn't restocked it from the night before. He was having a time. Like he was really having a day. And so I get up there and I'm like, hey, VIP. And he goes, ugh. And he goes, we don't have any of the programs, but if you fill out your information, they'll send you a program in the mail. I was like, oh, okay. So I fill out my information and I went to New York in the beginning of November. It is now the new year. I have not received my program. How much of a Karen do I be to the Sesame Workshop? Do I call them up and be like, hey guys, I've been waiting patiently for this thing that's meant for children. I would like it now, please.
I mean, is this a letter that you're writing?
I don't know. Is it? Or do I call?
I'd say, well, I would call, and I would also say it's not for you. It's for your son or daughter.
Oh, you think so? So I should start off with a lie.
Well, I'm saying to really get what you want, make them feel bad in a way that isn't you getting angry at them, right? Because that's the Karen thing, right?
Yeah.
Is to say, I'm going to talk down to you like you are my child versus I just want to get what I want. And what's more likely to get them to get up and move, right? Because that guy gave you, he probably dealt with 30 Karens that day, right? And it's that attitude he doesn't want to deal with. But it might be something where, oh yeah, my daughter Natalie really was hoping to get that, but we haven't received it yet. Do you know what? And you don't even have to say, are you going to send it? Just say, do you know when we would be getting it? As though you're waiting for it to come still.
Because she's pretty sick.
She's pretty sick, and we're just hoping it would happen to get here before she dies.
We just wanted her to be able to look at it once.
I would only say that verbally, though, because if you write it, then they're going to be like, oh, everyone, let's share this to social media and let's put on a fundraiser for Natalie. And now you're in one of the situations where you have to fake having a kid with cancer.
I was thinking that I would start with like, this letter is brought to you by the letters F and U. I don't know. Like, it also, like the other day, Jill, like I was talking to Jill about this, and she's like, or you just let it go. You just realize that, like, you don't need it. You bought 4 plush stuffed animals while you were there. You haven't done anything with your VIP pass lanyards. You haven't even hung them up. You're fine. I don't think you need to worry about that much.
You know, but I think Jill could accommodate you emotionally in these moments at least.
I would appreciate that, right?
You know what, honey, you're right, because it's not like you're asking her to write the letter. You're just saying, man, I want this thing to happen. You could be complaining about something else in the dark of night, right? You could be saying, oh, all these loan shark creditors who want to kill me. It's just annoying. Versus, man, I didn't get that Sesame Street program that I paid top dollar for. You know, I think she can give you at least that much.
At the time of us recording this, we're in the middle of a blizzard. And
well, allegedly, because I mean, yes, but I haven't really seen it yet.
That's the problem that we have, is that in the metro area, it doesn't look bad. But you get out to anywhere where there's open air a little bit, the wind is so blowy, and that last round of snow was so light that it is zero visibility. The drifts are insane. Mm-hmm. And so it's misleading when you're looking out your window at home. It's also like dreadfully cold. It's so cold right now. But I really want some shrimp. Like, I want shrimp so bad. And I'm on vacation right now, and I kind of want to get shrimp. So I'm thinking about venturing out to score myself some shrimp.
JJ, after we're done here, I have to go to Hornbacher's on 13th and to Petco. Do you want me to grab you some shrimps and just drop it off?
Wait a minute. Why are you going to the Hornbacher's on 13th?
Because that's where my pharmacy is. I got to go pick up my meds.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so I'm going to go there. Once we're done here, I'm going to start up my car and let it warm up for a bit. And I have to find something to get all the snow off because I broke my scraper.
Oh, no.
And then once that's all warmed up and ready to go, I'm going to go to Hornbacher's and I'm going to get my medicine. I could pick up some shrimp for you if you want. and then I'm going to go to Petco and get some cat food. And then, it's not too far of a drive to get to your place.
You know what I'd rather do is I'd rather go get my own shrimp, but like meet you for lunch.
Ooh, that's not
Have you had lunch yet today?
I have not.
Did you have a late breakfast of pepperonis?
Nope. All I've had is coffee.
Hey, also, by the way, I want to change your life. Okay. Have you had the triple pepperoni pizza from Boston's?
Wait, what?
Boston's Pizzeria. Have you ever had their triple pepperoni pizza?
No.
Okay, Tucker, this is going to change your life because it has the normal sliced round pepperonis. It also has diced like cubed pepperonis. And it also has those little pepperoni cups that you love so much that curl up and become little grease bowls.
No way.
All of that on one pizza, and it's legit amazing.
Oh my fucking God. Here's the thing. I'm actually kind of sick of pizza right now, and I never thought I'd say that. But I've been eating so much frozen pizza at home just because it holds up for a long time, right? And I just don't have to think about it. But once I'm in the mood for pizza again, I'm totally hitting Boston's triple pepperoni.
What kind of frozen pizza are you eating these days?
Lately, it's been Red Baron.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of souring on the Red Baron brand right now. I think it's because I'm just too used to it. It doesn't have the same, I don't know. When I was a kid and I knew we were having frozen pizza that night and I found out it was Red Baron, I was like, fuck yes. This is going to be amazing. And now the bloom is off the rose, I think it's because I can eat them whenever I want now. Or I don't know if maybe the recipe has changed somehow. But in general, pizza frozen has just not been knocking my socks.
Can I bring up a fact that I think is important to note here? Why hasn't the Red Baron Pizza Company been canceled?
What do you mean? Because of their logo of a German fighter pilot from World War I?
Yeah, who like downed a ton of like British and American planes. It seems like you're like one step away from being like, I got to pick up my Red Baron pizza and my my Adolf Hitler sour cream.
Well, I don't think World War I was racially motivated at all. I think it was just regular old war, but I don't know. I mean, listen, man, you have the bully pulpit at KFGO. If you wanted to tomorrow,
good idea.
You could begin the cancellation of Red Baron. If you're going to cancel Red Baron tomorrow, and first of all, dude, fuck you for canceling Red Baron. Their pizza
just change the name. Just be like, oh, it's Reggie's Pizza Place.
Well, I was going to say, I think if I'll only sign on to canceling Red Baron if we're going to replace Red Baron with a different figurehead from World War I.
So like Archduke Francis Ferdinand's pizza, pizza game arcade.
I forget who the fucking president was. Was it Woodrow Wilson? I
believe so. And he wasn't a great person to begin with. So I mean,
I don't know if it was possible for some powerful white guy to ever be a really good person, let alone pre 60s.
It's an interesting. I mean, to me, it's just like have they just kind of been silently like in the background being like, listen, let's just keep going until someone notices, and then we'll print new boxes. Like we already have a whole thing ready to go, but like let's not upset the apple cart until there's something. Maybe no one will notice.
It's probably just too far away, but also the Red Baron was just a soldier, right? He was just a member of their Air Force. I know next to nothing, but I would say that Tombstone may have more of a problem to it than Red Baron does.
Mm-hmm. Is Tombstone in reference to the city, to the movie, or to the marker for dead people?
Right. And let's not forget about the infamous slaveholder HG Pizza Corner.
Oh, he was the worst.
The fact that he still has a brand of pizza named after him is an absolute shame. Hey, JJ.
Yeah.
This is our last episode in 2022.
No, it's not. This is our first episode of 2023.
Last week was our last episode of 2022.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. This will come out on Monday.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'm
You're
right,
right. You're
and
right. You're
you're
right.
wrong.
Nope. I'm the
So
one who's off. I'm the one who's off.
you're the one who's wrong. I was like, nope. I'm pretty sure we were talking how this was going to be a year in review, but hey.
Well, it's a
So what
year
do you
about
say?
wolves. I'm proclamating that in 2023 I will be way into wolves.
Does it kind of feel kind of fucking crazy that, like, to think about, hey, remember how we went through like a whole pandemic thing?
Yeah.
That it feels like I almost feel like I've forgotten it happened.
Can I tell a truth to you? I am actually nostalgic for the first 3 months of the pandemic.
Really?
The ability to not have, I didn't have anything to do, right? I worked from home and I still did my show, but I didn't have social things I had to do. I was going to the grocery store once a week at the absolute most. I wasn't having to like go to, people's birthday parties and like all these other, things that I enjoy, but I am nostalgic for that time when like I didn't have to do anything. I could just read books. I had a great time.
I wish I could have held on to a better attitude during it, because then, yeah, when I think about all that free time that I had, I wish I had made better use of it. But I think a part of it for me was I had no idea what there was to look forward to, right? We had no idea how long it was going to last for. And so when I didn't have something to look forward to, that made it kind of difficult for me to really appreciate what I had in the moment, which was a lot of free time, versus now where I'm really busy and I'm like, oh, what I wouldn't give for just like a week where I could just sit and reconstitute my brain and my attention, get some stuff cleaned and do whatever. Although I could probably still do that during the week. It just would take more effort than I want to do. I just had a client note yesterday. First time I've ever gotten this client note where they said, could we make the video? The video is not violent enough.
What?
Yeah, I'm working on an animation for a group, and there's a sequence in it where we have some professional wrestling. And this is a video that's going to be shown in like classrooms and stuff. So I kept the violence in it really tame. And when I showed it to him yesterday, I was thought, we're close to done with this video. Like, you know what? We want that scene to be way more violent, and we want it to go for longer. And I was like, are you okay? But because of that, now I'm going to be working after Christmas for a couple more days than I thought. So I was planning on being done with it today and then going, great. The 24th of the end of the year, I'm just coast. There's nothing else for me to do. But now that's going to probably change because I have to make a scene more violent in an animation.
It's interesting. I can't wait to see what's going on.
Oh my God. Yeah. The viewers can't see it in this podcast, but there's a commercial I just made for Vogel that's out there right now with action figures that I'm pretty proud of. And Jason Jacobson and I teamed up and made that one, and it turned out really, really well. And I was hoping to get this animation I'm working on done in public before the end of the year, because then I can submit it for the Addies. But it's looking like that might not happen now in time. So it's kind of a bummer, but it's fun, dude. This last year has been pretty crazy. I mean, my grandmother passed away. But I did get to spend a lot of time with family down south, which is good. Work has been stressful and crazy and up and down throughout the year, as has the theater company that I've been a part of. And I know I feel similar to this, but the end of every single year. But right now, the feeling that I'm at is I just want to chill. I just want to have like a week where I'm like, yep, I'm not thinking about the next project. I'm not thinking about all the things I should be getting done or people want me to be getting done, or I don't want to be thinking about XYZ. I just want to like exist for a little bit, which is what I was doing during the pandemic. And I was miserable then too. So I don't know, man. I don't know what it's going to take. I think at least having another year on the books dealing with pandemic, like not having to deal with that the same level anymore, is definitely an improvement. And I'm looking forward to another year of that.
I'm, in 2023, I turned 40. And I didn't think that would be that big of a deal, because age is just a construct that we seem to abide by for no apparent reason. But like, I am legitly starting to look back and be like, oh, I didn't get this done. I didn't get this done. Oh, I should, I did this, but I didn't hold on to it long enough. So I'm very much thinking about like, okay, so what am I going to do this next year that makes me look back and be like, man, you crushed 39. the next 50 years after this are going to be awesome. And that's a tough, it's a tough pill to swallow for me, because I'm not somebody who takes a year by year stock of things, and maybe I should, but it's just not something that I'm ingrained in. You know, like I live my life couch by couch. So every era of my life is defined by what couch I happen to have at that time. And right now I'm in the era of I am enjoying a great couch that was in my house when I inherited it, but it's time to put in a new couch. Yeah. There's something deep in there. I don't know where. I mean, just scratch beyond the surface, but there's something deep in saying it's time to get rid of my mom's old couch. It's time for me to get a new couch, a couch that I've picked out.
I just feel like Couch by Couch sounds like the title of like a soft rock song in the early 90s on Light Rock 105.
I was thinking it's like it's the memoir of a guy who just like is a total incomplete like screw up. And it's couch by couch, my life sleeping on my fraternity buddies' like living rooms.
These are the couches I've known.
Oh, love that. One of my favorite Kids in the Hall sketches is These Are the Daves I Know. And it's sang by Bruce McCullough. And it's like, these are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know. Dave Marquardt works at my dad's store. He's worked there for several years. He'll probably work there for more. These are the Daves I know.
I love that Dave Foley's just there too.
Right? It's good stuff. Well, Tucker, listen, we got to go have lunch and get some shrimp. I'm not going to eat shrimp for lunch because I want to eat shrimp privately. Because that's just who I am as a man. I like private shrimp consumption instead of shrimp consumption in front of other people for fear of judgment. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. I put my name through the name generator, and it came up as Greg.